Everything is very precarious right now. But I'm super excited that we're going to be joined by Mimi Ison of Hey Middle Age. Let's see. Just looking out for her. She has so many fans. And it's so suspenseful. This is like the worst part. I always say this, but it is. Let's see if we can find her. Mimi Ison, as you know, while we wait for her to jump on here, is a pro-age blogger. Hello, here she is, she's coming. She's a midlife movement inspiration, and I would say just a real source of menopause and menopause. I have let her in. Let's hang on for a second and welcome to the Alloy community. Right on time. Mimi. Yay! Hi, Mimi.
Rachel, hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Well, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I had a terrible night of sleep.
I'm sorry.
Okay, anyone out there have a bad night of sleep? It was just one of those nights. But anyway,
it happens.
It happens, right?
Yes,
right.
It does happen, and sometimes
that along with all kinds of other things.
Yes, all kinds of other things, which we're going to get into.
Yeah.
Mimi, thank you for joining us here on
gosh.
the Alloy community. We are such fans of yours. So many are fans of yours. You are just a delight, as I say, in every way. I know you're sleepy. I'm a little sleepy as well. I introduced you already, so I won't circle back to that. We'll get right into it because I know we only have 30 minutes with you. To begin, Mimi, your platform, Hey Middle Age, I think really was begun as a way to sort of explore all aspects of midlife, and somehow, some way, you sort of found yourself on and with a mission to upend ageist stereotypes and that you say harm everyone. And I wonder if you would just share with us some of those that you had in mind when you sought to start your platform.
Well, I have to say that I was as guilty as anyone of believing a lot of negative stereotypes around getting older. And I think it's just sort of baked in to what we know. We know it starts very early, as young as, I believe, 3 or 4 years old. You see it in, fairy tales and all these kinds of things, old maid cards, games. And so it's just sort of baked in, and it's what we expect. It's what we understand. And I remember very clearly when I turned 50 that I thought, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
It's all downhill now. I'm never going to be able to do as much as I did before. I'm never going to look the way I look anymore. Like, I was really expecting all these things to come to me, which was kind of nutty because it didn't really make sense for what I was actually doing physically at the time for me to believe that. But like I said, I think most of us do, and I think it takes voices and the visuals, what we're seeing, to sort of upend that, to show that, well, no, that's not necessarily true. And it's not to say that age doesn't matter. Of course it matters, but it doesn't need to be a default.
Sure.
That's my thing. And I mean, I get messages all the time where people say, well, I'm this age, I'm 50, I'm 40, I'm 36. Can I still do that?
Oof.
And it just floors me, because my question back is, why wouldn't you? But it's not anyone's fault. It's what we know. It's what's so ingrained. So I'm just here in my little space to say, well, that's not necessarily true. I don't actually know what the data is in terms of how, physical people are at 40 or 50 or 60 or whatever. I think, more people do need to move. I think we know that. But like when it's sort of, friends I know and people I see, I just don't see that. I don't see those limitations that, the world is putting on us. So, you know, that's kind of
That's
that's
where
kind of where I'm at. Yeah,
that's where you're at. So Mimi, you're 60 years
I
old,
am
is that correct?
sick. Yes.
So when I see you sharing your content, you're in constant motion one way or another. So when I
Yeah.
hear you saying that you're getting messages from people
Mhm.
about, can I do this? Can I do
Mhm.
that? I am also floored to hear it.
Mhm.
And of all people that I see regularly defying stereotypes, it is you. You are a boxer, a dancer. I had a dream about you in
That's so
preparation for this
funny.
conversation. That happens to me a lot. I sort of like, I think it helps me get my gears going. But I had a dream about you that you were boxing and
Uh-huh.
you were like doing the bag thing and you were you were punching fiercely and just in rhythm, and you weren't paying any attention to me, but you knew that I was there, and you kept saying to me, that, or I kept saying to you, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And you were sort of like ignoring me because you were focusing on the bag, but you also, there was this thing in the dream that I didn't want to get so sweaty, and you were kind of like quietly responding to me to get over it, get moving, get moving, get moving.
Yeah.
We often focus on the physical benefits of movement and fitness, but your journey, particularly with boxing
Yeah.
and with dancing, I know has also impacted your mental health. Can you talk about those two parts, those two sides of the coin, if you will?
Well, um, well, for me, it's all joy. So I like the challenge. I like the hard work. That's where the satisfaction comes. So I don't get much satisfaction out of something that's really easy,
Right.
right? I could plop on the couch and, you know, be, watching stuff all night long. I love that. It's fun, but really kind of this exhilaration and this, you know, um, just the satisfaction of knowing you did something that was challenging and hard. Like there's just no other feeling like that for me.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. I mean, dancing is just joy to me. I just love it. And I've been reading a lot about sort of brain health and dancing, and there's something about the blend of music and the social piece of it. And it's almost like a puzzle, right? If you're learning choreography, it's like
Absolutely.
a puzzle, and all those things, like the combination of it is actually good for your brain health. And it's not the reason I do it, but it's an added benefit. Why not? But you know how you turn some music on, how could you not feel great and move? So that's the dancing piece. I've always loved that. And then the boxing part was just kind of an accident. I never planned to do anything like that. Never, 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 never. So
How did you
um,
end up in the gym, in the boxing gym?
I
How did that
I was
start?
I was at a gym taking a different
Yeah.
class, this fitness class. I'd go there a couple times a week, and I went there one night, and the teacher happened to cancel. I think she had her car broke down or something. So I go up to the desk to get a refund, and the woman behind the desk said, "Oh, you could try a free boxing class downstairs. It's in 20 minutes." And I said, "Hell no." That's no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. That's not me. I've seen that downstairs gym. It's like all, it's all sweaty. You can't even see in the mirrors. There, it's like no, because I mean, because of all the sweat going
Yes.
down there. I
It's
said, no, no,
very
no. I
sweaty.
said, that's not me. And she said, oh well, it's free. The first class is free. You're here. You're dressed. Just
Yeah.
go try. And sometimes there's that split second where you can say yes or no. I don't know why I did it, but I just
Mm-hmm.
said, okay. And she goes, go down, and everyone, ask around, they'll help you.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I go down. My first boxing friend, I meet her. I say, hey, hi, this is my first time here. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? And yes, everybody helps you. And it was the hardest thing I had ever done. And physically, I had not done sort of calisthenic type exercises.
Right.
I had never done a burpee or, you
Right.
know, a push-up or any, I just didn't, it wasn't in my wheelhouse. I had just come off of doing 10 years of ballet. So,
Mm,
but I saw all these women in the ring hitting, punching. They
really?
were fast, they were strong, they were awesome. And I said, I'm coming back for that. I want to do that. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like seeing these other women in the gym. That's what made me want to do it. And it was hard. It was really hard. But I came back. I took the intro classes. I tried to learn technique. And it's a great gym. I mean, the owner, Leon, just their philosophy, like every trainer knew everybody by name every single time you went there. You just really felt welcome. And we were all in it together because it was hard for everybody. It
Yeah.
didn't matter what your athletic level was, it was
Yeah.
hard for everyone. So it was just like, whew, we're all in it together. And that's what kept me coming back to it. And it's been, I'm into my 11th year now.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing. That's just
yeah,
incredible. Did you
yeah.
feel at all? I didn't realize that you sort of
Uh-huh.
stepped into it with so many women already present. And I was thinking it's such a
Yeah,
male
yeah.
sport.
Well,
We understand it to be that way.
um, what was happening around that time is it was becoming a well, he was a little ahead of it, but it was becoming a little trendy, I think.
Yeah.
Like you
Okay.
kind of saw, um, I think a lot of this was happening in New York. You kind of saw like models boxing and actors, and so I feel like that sort of drew a lot of women to it.
Right.
Not this gym in particular. This gym just happened to have women, and now if I go, oh, there's definitely a minimum half the gym is women, maybe more, maybe a little bit more.
That's amazing. I
Yeah,
think that must be incredibly empowering. And
yeah.
last time we spoke, I thought, I'm going to give this a try, and I didn't, but now I'm feeling on the cusp of something else, and I may actually try. So Mimi, I want to pivot for a minute.
Yeah.
You shared with me that you were
Yeah.
having some sort of physical aches and
Mhm.
pains for some time.
Mhm.
How has that, we would never know it. You're as I said, you're in constant motion,
Yeah.
and you're so encouraging of us to keep moving. I know that
Yeah.
you live a very healthy lifestyle. You do all of the things sort of that we understand to
Mhm.
do that bring us sort of present health
Mhm.
and shore us up for future health.
Mhm.
And then what shifted?
Well, I like to say understanding perimenopause for me, and I'm 8 years postmenopausal now,
Mm-hmm.
but understanding perimenopause is like looking in a rearview mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally knew nothing about perimenopause. It's so frustrating to me now, looking back and not understanding that there were things that were happening that were probably perimenopausal symptoms that I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I didn't have, you know, severe hot flashes. I had maybe a dozen of them, and then they just kind of went away. I didn't have night sweats and things like that, but I had a lot of other things that happened that it just didn't occur to me that they would be connected to perimenopause in any way at all. And so now looking back, I do understand there were things that happened. I'm going to tell you one brain fog story because it's just kind
Sure,
of,
please.
yeah. So I was going out to do some errands. I get in my car, I drive, and I'm really excited. I'm happy. I found this good parking spot. So I parallel park into this spot.
Mm.
I go out, I do my thing, I come back, and I'm just blown. I can't believe it. I had parked in front of an apartment building driveway. I had blocked their driveway. I parallel parked into the
Wow,
spot.
really?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And I thought, did someone move my car? I couldn't
Wow.
believe I did that. And all the other spaces had meters,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh my gosh, like what's going on? And then within that time, I'm not know, a day or two later, I was standing in my kitchen. I had a Pyrex bowl in my hand. I just dropped it. Just dropped it. It didn't slip. I didn't bump into something. And I'm thinking, what is going on? So looking back now, I'm thinking, okay, that is some brain fog situation going
Right.
on. And then other things were happening insomnia. I started getting joint pain. I had frozen shoulder. I had another issue with my shoulder. One day I literally couldn't lift my arm. And being the kind of typical person who takes care of everybody ahead of themselves and doesn't take care of themselves at the time, I just got a big scarf and I tied a sling. I stuck my arm in it and drove to work with one hand.
Wow.
Like, that's just what I did.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt, but I mean, I couldn't move my arm. So I don't know for sure what was associated with perimenopause or not, but I believe some of these things were. And then over some time, I just started to feel this stiffness. Always felt just, anytime I got up from sitting or laying down, just didn't feel good. So is it my joints? What is it? And is it inflammation? I'm not really sure, but I get used to it, right? So it's kind of humming along for years. And when you see me doing whatever I'm doing, I always have some pain. So I have a herniated disc. I have degeneration in my spine. I have, but I have found ways to manage that in my back. But this other pain just kind of hummed along. I just accept it, I guess. I just get used to it.
Yeah, you normalized it.
I normalized it. And so I know I saw your interview with Dr. Vonda Wright, and I had heard her talking about this before, arthralgia. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I don't know. And how that is kind of this pain. I think it's associated with the joints, but doesn't necessarily have an explanation, right? So I had been talking to my doctors about hormone therapy, MHT. I think that's how we're referring to it.
MHT, yep.
MHT. So I've been talking to my doctors about this just because in the last couple of years, there are all these voices coming out talking about perimenopause and the symptoms and menopause. And I'm learning so much, and I'm understanding, the critiques of the Women's Health Initiative. And I remember years ago when I was starting my blog, a friend of mine said, oh, I have a friend. She's on HRT, she's calling it HRT. And she goes, oh, you might want to talk to her about it. And I remember thinking, oh, hormones? No. That's, no, that's scary. That's risky. I didn't know why I knew that, but somehow I knew it, right? So in the last couple of years, just all these great voices, doctors coming out, talking about it, the book Estrogen Matters, which I also read. And I'm thinking, okay, wow, I think I could get some benefit from this. I'm going to explore it, start talking to my doctors. So long story short, it took 4 doctors and 2 years to be able to get MHT, which I started about a month ago. And that pain is not, it's just not there anymore. That all over, and I didn't know what to expect, right? So, and I wasn't doing it for that. I don't believe the medical guidelines allow it for that. I mean, the medical guidelines allow it for certain things and not every symptom, right? So, I've had a couple of DEXA scans, and I already have decreasing bone mineral density. My mother had osteoporosis, so that was like the main purpose of it. This was just an added benefit.
It really is. And I think, did you, Mimi, eventually have conversations with physicians who let you know that estrogen was the thing and that you needed more? So
I came to my doctors and said, I've been reading this, I've been hearing this. Is this something, that is available to me? Can we talk about this? And I was getting no's essentially, because I think, again, and I love my doctors, total respect
Of course.
for medicine. I'm not a person who dives deep into sort of
Yep.
alternative things. But it was just, I think a lot of it is associated with the medical guidelines and what it is allowed for.
Yep.
And so the discussions just sort of evolved over time and got to this place. So I still have the back, I still have stuff
Sure.
going on. I still have the back issue and the back pain. That is still there. But what occurred to me was that, oh, that's a separate thing, right? I was just kind of feeling like it was all radiating out of that area in my lower back and just kind of radiating through my whole body. And I didn't realize, it's like, oh no, that piece of it is like really separate from this, right? The humming of the pain that I was so used to. And it probably took less than a week, I think. So
It's
I'm hoping
amazing.
Yeah.
I truly, Mimi, I'm so grateful that you would share all of this. You are like so many women going along, doing all the things, right? Which all matter anyway. What we eat, that we're moving, getting sleep, stress mitigation practices, but you're still having issue. We're sort of going along, understanding, thanks to the WHI and really like many of us will say we love our doctors. We're not sort of like anti-medicine, but the medicine needed to catch up with our needs and all of the conversations that we were having. There are doctors that we know out there who have known all of the benefits of MHT and been maybe quietly speaking about it, but there is this wave now that's happening, and it's this coming together, I think, of our organic conversations
and I think
the medicine finally saying, look, let's revisit all of this.
And the women and people demanding it. And so sometimes when we get onto this topic and I'm looking into the comments, and there's so many women out there who are suffering in so many different ways, and then there are a lot of women, and I was feeling the same way, because if you think about sort of the recommended time frame to start, I was really on that cusp of not that that's hard, like a hard and fast rule, but it's a general rule, right? And I was like right on the cusp of that. And there's, all these questions about the when and if it's still okay and is it not okay, just so many questions that people aren't getting answered. It's just really, it's frustrating. And I know that in some ways, and I hate to say menopause is having a moment, because it's not a trend, obviously. Half the world's going to go through it, but it is getting a lot of attention right now. And so I think we're all kind of on this wave. And if younger people ask me for any advice about getting older, one of the things I say is find out about, as much as you can, about perimenopause, menopause, what's going on, understand the symptoms beyond the obvious ones we know about, track them, so you can go to your doctors and say, look what's going on. This is what's going on. So you can have those conversations to get to a place that's, works for you. And obviously MHT is not for everyone, and there are other, things you can do, but I think it's just great that we're talking about it and the information is getting out there. And
I do too.
Yeah.
And truly, I can't thank you enough for lending your voice to this part of the conversation and sort of amplifying this part of your story. Also, to your point about sort of being on that cusp, you're 60 years old, you've started taking MHT at 60 years old. It is so nuanced for everyone. And, a doctor should sort of do a detailed assessment so that you can better understand the risk and benefits. But I sort of, first of all, land on the idea that, as Dr. Malone, our medical advisor, always says, that women shouldn't normalize suffering. There's absolutely
Yes.
no reason to do that. To piggyback off of that, should you want to try MHT, that's your decision. It's your body. You have agency. Weighing, again, the risk benefits all the time is so critical. Are you still having hot flashes? Are you having bone, joint, muscle pain? Someone wrote in here that she thought she had bone cancer. Her body was hurting. I know, her bones and her joints were hurting so much. And all of the other symptoms that you may have well past menopause. But, you know, as for risks, things like existing coronary heart disease, are you on the dementia spectrum? You know, there may be further assessment, like I said, needed. A coronary calcium scan is a good one. You know, if these things are low risk, then a doctor might say to you, you're in good overall health. Let's have a discussion about starting MHT. If you're post 60, certainly be using vaginal estrogen. And if I can just say this one last thing, I didn't mean to jump on, but if you are watching this conversation and you're not sure where to start, again, Mimi, your point about having gone to so many doctors that you know and love and trust and still not getting the answer, and sort of understanding it's not entirely their fault. Maybe they weren't educated, which we're hearing from doctors all the time. They weren't educated about menopause.
Well, but the way it worked for me is that the conversation evolved. And like I said, I think initially I was sort of asking it for the so-called wrong reason, or, you know, if I can categorize it that way. And it sort of evolved to get to sort of the right purpose. It's kind of the best way I can explain it. So, but it wasn't just like walking into the doctor's office and saying, hey, and that was okay, because it also enabled me to have kind of the time to learn more and sort of, you know, understand the risks better. And so, like I said, a lot of this is looking in the rearview mirror.
Absolutely.
And
your encouragement to younger women is critical. Right? It really
but
is.
I mean, I think that's going to happen for them, but let's just keep saying it, because I think what, at least for me, and I think it's very common, again, looking in the rearview mirror, at that time period is during perimenopause is probably some of the most stressful times, where I was, you know, working a lot of hours. My daughter was needed a lot of things for school and things like that, and just trying to keep everything running and going. And then something happens, you're not really quite sure why it happens. And for me, it's like, well, what did I do wrong? Or what did I not do? Or what did, you know, I'm sort of used to kind of controlling everything and then shifting the blame on myself, where that, you know, I didn't have the tools to understand what was going on. But I think it's really common. I think it comes back to what you were saying, that Dr. Sharon Malone was saying, like, no, women shouldn't suffer. But I think we kind of take on a lot of burden, a lot of responsibility, a lot more than we necessarily need to. And sometimes, like, we just need to just come out and, you know, be really open about what we need. And we shouldn't be suffering, and we should be able to ask the questions and get the answers that we need.
Thank you for that, Mimi. We're almost. I'm taking 5 more minutes of your time.
Okay.
We're almost to the 12:30 mark, but I do want to get to my last five. And I do just want to finally also encourage anyone. If you're looking for help, particularly around perimenopause, menopause, how you're feeling, how you're doing, sort of, you know, things popping up out of nowhere, inexplicable aches and pains. Maybe you're hot flashing, maybe you're not. I was like Mimi. I wasn't hot flashing for, you know, almost 9 years, and then they came fast and furious. But I do want you to check out. I know there are some people watching this who don't realize maybe who Alloy is. We are a telehealth company.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the business of helping women in perimenopause and menopause feel better so they can get on with their lives and do the things that they love to do, sort of dialing better to being physical, as Mimi is so passionate about, getting work done, not parking in the wrong spots. all of these things matter to your quality of life. And so I encourage you to jump on myalloy.com and connect with a menopause specialist, a physician who's already, to date, well-versed in hormonal treatment and can start to guide you. Mimi, you are at the fore, leading a charge, a momentum about openness and fullness in midlife. You squash all of the stereotypes that we understand and know better than to believe. But I just thank you so much for your voice in this conversation. We're going to start our last for the last 5 minutes. So hang in there, everybody. Are you ready, Mimi?
I'm ready.
Okay. Number one, which talent would you most like to have?
I would love to be able to sing.
So many people want to sing. Really?
My fantasy. No, my fantasy would to be in a Broadway musical. That would be my ultimate fantasy. Yeah, if a genie came down and gave me a wish, that would be my wish.
You'd want to be on Broadway. Okay, I love it. All right, Mimi. A trait you do not like about yourself.
Stay up too late. I stay up too late.
What's that?
I stay up too late. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
All right.
I'm working on it.
All right, sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
I know you know all about it.
I know.
Okay, Mimi, a trait you love about yourself.
Oh, I'm a good listener.
Oh, you are a good listener.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote in here perfectionism, a trait they don't. I love that people are chiming in.
One. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been working on that one, though.
Yeah.
I've been working on that
one. Yeah. Okay, you're hosting a dinner party.
Mm-hmm.
You're inviting 3 people, living or historical. Who would they be?
Oh, okay. So, this is a little heavy. My father lost his grandfather during the Korean War. He was a captured prisoner, so I never knew him. So he would be one person for sure. I would want to meet. I'd like to see my mom again. She passed away, so I would invite her, and can I invite my cat that passed?
Of course,
this is heavy. It's like every
absolutely. It's like I love your table.
My life who have passed, so I'd want to see them again. Yeah, that would be it.
Finally, Mimi, what is your current state of mind?
Oh my gosh. Okay, my body feels different, and I'm telling you, you cannot tell from the outside how healthy someone is. So if being healthy means you have no disease, then I'm not healthy. If being healthy means you're not on prescription medications, then I'm not healthy. So you can't tell from the outside how healthy someone is. So what was the question?
What is your current state of mind?
Oh, okay. So I'm not gonna lie, the MHT, like my body feels so good right now. It really does. It really does. I'm not like getting up from the couch like kind of bent over and just like needing to kind of reset and stand myself up, like
before you take a step. Yeah.
I'm not feeling that anymore. So my body just feels really good, and I haven't felt that in many years. Many years. So I have to say, I just feel energized.
Wow.
I'm not. Yeah. So you know what? Like when if you see me on Instagram, you're seeing little snippets. I'm not jumping around all day long, right? I'm like just a regular person. Yeah, I sit still. I get tired. There are days when I don't want to work out, just like anybody else. But I just feel like I have this renewed energy because my body doesn't hurt
And you
the way it had
do.
for years.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
You
I'm blown
actually
away.
do. Yeah. That's how I felt. I was blown
Yeah.
away. And
Yeah.
and it is one thing
Mm-hmm.
that, of several perhaps for people,
Yeah.
but it is the one thing that helps everything else sort of get going.
Yeah.
Get going. You were already moving. Now
Yeah.
you're moving with a lot less pain. You're more energized.
With a lot less pain, and it's not so much I have the pain during, it's the pain after.
Yeah, it's the pain
So
after.
it's the after that I'm not having as much. And I just kind of just the realization that, wow, you know, I had just been tolerating that for
Yes.
so long. Like I said, you just get sort of used to it, right? And just
Yeah.
tolerating that for so many years, like I'm just like, wow, you know.
Mimi Ison, I thank you for this time. I really do hope that people listening to this will be inspired and encouraged to, if nothing else, not normalize their feeling unwell. We are doing all the things.
Yeah.
Women are doing particularly all the things, taking care of people. Like, we hear this all the time, right? But we don't have to live sort of trudging our way, muscling our way through something.
Right.
We can feel better. We can feel better in the present.
Right.
We can shore up our future health with the benefit, the aid of MHT. But also, and I don't want this to get lost, you are truly an inspiration in so many ways. I don't know how many people knew that you were taking MHT, and you know, you have the
Nobody knew.
And
this is the first
nobody
time
knew.
that
This is
I
breaking
haven't
news.
written about it or talked about
it.
No, this is the first time.
I mean, this
but
is
it's so new.
It's so new.
It's only it's only been a month.
It's been a month.
I'm just,
and you're
you
feeling
know, I'm
so
crossing
much
my
better.
fingers.
Oh,
I'm crossing my
dial
fingers.
in, sister.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better. I promise.
I hope so.
I promise.
I would say one other tip
Please.
would be to be tracking the things that are going on, because like I said, that I had sort of tolerated this pain for so long, and then you just it doesn't occur to you that maybe that shouldn't be there. So sort of tracking things and then looking back and understanding, okay, is there a pattern here? Is something worsening? I think is a good idea. And you know, there are apps to be able to do that now, which I wish existed, you know, 15 years ago. But
I agree. I'm always an advocate of jotting things down, even if it's putting it in the calendar or in your phone.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't want to get an app or whatever, but it makes a difference. It's it really helps inform you and inform any of your medical practitioners. All right, I'm really letting you go now. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Mimi Ison, thank you so much. Always a delight. Thank you for sharing your breaking news with us here at Alloy. Always good talking to you. And everyone just continue to be inspired by Mimi. She's Hey Middle Age here on Instagram, and we love her. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.